Hello. Yeah, hey everybody. We're going to get started here in just a second. If you can hear me right now, will you please, underneath the video, there's like a comment box. Will you leave a comment, a message in there, type in your name and your email address, and let me know if you can hear me right now. It's been kind of funky, and it tells me on the software that I'm using called Webinar Ignition, it tells me that I have 0 live viewers on, but I know that's not right for sure because I'm on and I've gotten 1 comment back. So if you could just tell me if you can hear me, that would be awesome, because I don't know for sure, like, if I'm live, not live, you know, all that stuff. And I know there's a little bit of a lag, but it says got a question on the page. Just type in there if you can hear me, and I'm going to get started here in just a second. I'm super excited, and I'll save the intro here for just 1 second. Let's see though, but yeah, if you can type in a comment there where it says got a question, just let me know if you can hear me. Once I get a couple of yeses, we'll get started. Leave a comment on that page letting me know if you can hear me. And throughout the course of tonight, I'm going to be answering questions. We're going to be breaking tonight into 3 parts, and I'll explain that a little bit more here in a minute. And so I'm going to be taking questions after each part. So like you ask a question, and I'm not responding to that question right away, I'll get to it when we get to the next part, and again, and I'll do more of that. Okay, it looks like I've gotten a couple more. I can see you, hear you. Awesome. So I believe everyone can see me, hear me. Awesome. Okay, great. So we're going to get started then. Now, just a heads up, this is going to turn into a course here in a little bit, and so know right now that whenever I look at the questions, I'm actually going to be able to see your name. If you don't want your name to be in a course, send me a message on Facebook, and I'll blur it out whenever I make the final copy of it. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's not going to like affect anything. It shouldn't hurt you or anything like that. But I just kind of want everyone to know that going into it. I am recording this with Camtasia, and then it's also recording through Google's Hangouts. So I'm recording it from all over, and I'm excited, right? I am super excited because the information that I have to share with you tonight can transform your life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for about 2 seconds, and then you're going to hear a loud clap. And the reason why I'm going to clap is so that whenever I go into it and edit it in Camtasia, I'll know when the official starting point is, because there'll be like a louder part of it. And then I'm going to go into an introduction as if I'm introducing everything, to have everything super neat and fresh and compact and concise for the course. So I'm going to pause for just a second, clap, come back, welcome you, and I'm excited. We're about to get started right now. Hey there, my friends. Landon Stewart here, and welcome to the webinar tonight. Inside of this video that you're watching right now, I am going to share with you what I call my secret conversion formula, which is how to hypnotically compel your prospects to buy without objection and without question. And I am super excited to share this information with you. If you don't know too much about my story, about a year ago now, it would have been about 14 months ago at this point, I had actually been struggling in my business for a long time. It was about 4 years of pain and struggle, and I actually did everything imaginable to build my business, right? I mean, I remember being on the phone and cold calling people and getting hung up on every single day. I remember wandering around shopping malls to build, my network marketing business. I then got into like the affiliate side and affiliate marketing, and I got into all these systems, and I tried selling these systems, and that didn't work for me either. And it got to the point about a year ago to where I was almost broke. I was in debt. Nothing was working for me. I was frustrated, and I was about ready to just give up, to be honest. I was about ready just to call it quits, because I didn't know if it was ever going to work for me, if I was ever going to have the success that I knew I deserved. And then all of a sudden, all at once, all of my skills and everything that I'd been learning over the years, all of a sudden they just came together all at once, and I just started having success out of nowhere. In fact, there was a point last year to where I couldn't even take my girlfriend out to dinner. One night I took Melissa, my girlfriend, out to dinner. I went up to pay for it. My credit card got declined, so she had to pay for that dinner, and I was just super embarrassed, super humiliated by that. And I went from that 30 days later, after that moment, I had my first $10,000 month in my business. Over the last year, I've done over $150,000 in sales in my business. I've personally recruited over 350 people people. And tonight, I'm going to show you exactly how I've done that. A lot of people, they get the wrong idea about what it really takes to make a lot of money. They think it's all about traffic and finding like a super awesome system. Traffic is a part of the equation. You need to generate leads and you need to generate traffic. But if you don't know how to convert that, if you don't know how to write a message or speak into a video or write an email that gets people wanting to buy so bad that their hands start to sweat, that their heart starts to beat, if you don't know how to do that, you're just not going to have the kind of success that you want, that you deserve to have. But tonight, all of that can change for you, and I'm going to show you exactly how I've done it. Again, I've used this formula to do over $150,000 in sales, and I kind of want to start off with the big fat disclaimer right now. Even though I've used this information on this formula to do over $150,000 in sales, changed my life. I've done over 6 figures in personal income myself. Even though that is true, that does not guarantee they're going to have the same kind of success. My results aren't typical. Not everyone is able to do that, because the truth is most people just don't do anything at all, and sometimes our learning curves are just longer than others depending on what skills we need to learn and what skills we already have. And you can see the full income disclosure at joinlandon.com/video/income. And this training, I'm actually going to be breaking it down into 3 different parts, all of them very, very, very important. And the first one is the actual formula. This is a 10-step formula that I use in every single video that I make, that I use in every single email that I write, and every single Facebook ad that I make. It's a 10-step formula that I use in literally every single piece of content that I put out into the internet to get people wanting to buy like crazy. It's literally like a checklist where you just look at it. Okay, in this spot, here's what I need to put. In this spot, here's what I need to put. And you can apply this into any business. You can use this to sell any product. You can literally use this to sell anything that you want and start getting commissions flowing into your bank account all the time. And I just want to check, just make sure everyone's hearing me okay and all of that, and then we'll get back here. Okay, awesome, awesome. So I understand that everyone is hearing me okay. And so again, this is my 10-step selling formula that you can use to sell anything, anytime, without actually selling, which is why it's a lot of fun. You can use it in your videos, emails, blog posts, Facebook ads, and everything else. So let's get started. I do want you to actually grab out a pen and a piece of paper, and I want you to take notes, whether you're watching right now on the webinar or whether you're watching this in the future inside of the course. I want you to take notes on what I'm going to share. This isn't like fluff. This isn't theory. This is real proven information. This is a real formula that you can seriously apply, and if you apply it into your business, I'm telling you the results that you can get, you can't even imagine what they are right now inside of your mind, because they're just so much better than what you think you can do when you have this simple formula. So grab out a pen, grab out a piece of paper, take these notes, write down this formula that I'm about to share with you, and let's get started. Again, it's a 10-step formula, and so what I'm going to do first here is I'm actually going to give you the formula. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you real-life case studies and how this has actually worked for myself and my business in real time right now. And then what I'm going to do is actually give you 12 language hacks. I'm going to give you a couple of language hacks you can embed within your videos and the different parts of your videos and emails and everything you put online that'll just skyrocket all of your conversions. So the first thing I'm going to do is give you that 10-step formula. Again, this is the exact formula that you can use in all of your sales material that you use online. I use it in everything that I do, and it works. It's proven to work. So here we go. I'm super excited. I hope you're all pumped up to see this. So number one thing that you need in any sort of a sales message that you present out into the world is a hook, right? So what's a hook? Well, a hook would be like the headline that you put on the page, or it's like the very first sentence of a video, and it basically just captures the attention and builds the interest from the viewer, right? And the hook is super, super, super important. I could actually do like, hours and hours of training just on what a hook is. But basically, your hook is basically the biggest benefit that people are going to get by reading your email, by watching your video, by being a part of your content. So like, for example, the hook of this video is what? My speed conversion formula, how to hypnotically compel your prospects to buy without question. That was my hook, right? In a lot of videos, I'll be like, hey, my name is Landon Stewart, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how I created over $100,000 in personal income. And it doesn't have to be a big result like that. It just has to have something that captures their attention, because whenever people are reading your emails or they're reading your blog posts or your Facebook posts or they're watching your videos, you have a very short amount of time to capture their attention. So you need to do that. And I'll show you some examples of how I do this in my own content here a little bit later on. And just a couple of nuggets and things that you need to make sure that you have in your hook. Make sure to keep it very, very clear and to spell out the main benefit to your prospect that your prospect will get by watching the video, buying the product. And again, I'm going to give you examples of this in a moment. The most important thing here is to be clear. I remember when I first got started, I didn't really understand that concept. I thought that it wasn't important to be clear. I thought it was important to be clever. So I remember I set up this ad in Google, and it was like an ad targeting people who were looking to join a network marketing business. And they went to like the page, and I came up with this headline like, "Who makes more money, a car salesman or a car salesman's boss?" That was like the headline of the thing, which is like, you know, and what I was trying to say is that whenever you build like a team and stuff or whatever, you make more money, or, you know, whenever you don't have a job anymore, you make more money and stuff like that. That's what I was trying to say, but instead of just saying that, I was super not clear with my message, and so it just confused the people that went to the page. I didn't get any leads, and I ended up spending like $200 in 2 days, and I didn't make any money. The number one most important thing whenever you're having your capture pages online or your videos online is to be very, very clear with what people are going to get by watching that video, by reading the email. This is your hook, and it's the first thing that I do in every single piece of content that I put out into the internet. The number two thing that you need, again, these are 10 steps, and I put each of these 10 steps in every single thing that I do that's designed to sell. The number two thing is what I call your story of trust, and what this is your story of struggle that builds a bond with your viewer and or your reader, the person who's watching your video or reading your email. And I'll explain how you write this story here in a second. And stories of trust are super, super, super important. And the reason why is people won't buy things from people that they don't know, like, and trust. So if you want someone to buy from you, you have to get them to like you. You have to get them to know you and to trust you. And if they're watching one of your videos online, they might not have any idea as to who you are or what you can do for them. So what you need to do is you tell your painful story, and that relates to the person who's watching it, right? Because whenever someone is in a buying mode, right, to get someone to buy, you have to help them resonate with the pain that they have right now. So like earlier in the video, what did I do, right? I was like, you know, I was struggling in my business for years, and I used that kind of language. Well, why did I do that? It was because I wanted you who's watching this video right now, I wanted you to resonate with me, because I realized that a lot of people, they struggle in their business for a long time before they have the success that they want. So I was resonating with you, I was building that trust with you, and it's very important to do this in all of your stuff that's designed to sell. You need to build a relationship with the viewer very, very quickly, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So here's how to tell an effective story, and definitely write this down. Here's how to tell an effective story. When you're telling your story, number one is you need to state the emotion first, followed by the reason why you have this emotion. Now, this is actually backwards from what we're taught in school, right? So what you do is you state the emotion first, followed by the reason you have that emotion. And let me give you an example right here. Something that you could say, and I use this in a lot of my videos, is I say, I remember feeling rejected because my friends and family thought I was a complete doofus for doing this internet stuff. Now, what do most people say, and what are we taught to say? We're taught to say things like, I remember my friends and family, they thought I was a doofus, and that made me feel rejected. Well, when you state your story that way, if the person didn't have that exact experience. So if the person didn't have the experience of their friends and family thinking they were a doofus, they won't resonate with that pain. But when you state the feeling first, the pain first, then they do. So by saying, I remember feeling rejected because my friends and family thought I was a complete doofus for doing this business. I felt frustrated because I've been working and working and working on my business, yet it hadn't been working for me. Again, both examples here, I'm stating the feeling that I felt, followed by the reason why I had that feeling. And so here's actually the structure of how I tell my story. So again, remember, we're starting off with the hook. So basically, hey there, my friend, my name is Landon Stewart, and inside of this video, here's what you're going to learn. Inside of this email, here's what you're going to learn. Here's why you need to pay attention. Here's how I'm going to capture your attention, right? You capture their attention with the hook, and then immediately after you capture their attention, then you build that trust. You build that bond with your viewer. And so here's how I do that. I always do this in all of my stuff. I tell my story, and here's how I tell it. I'll usually state 3 painful emotions, followed by the breakthrough that happened, and then I'm going to show you what it's followed by next. So here's how that would look. I remember feeling rejected because my friends and family thought I was a complete doofus for doing this internet stuff. I felt frustrated because I've been working and working and working on my business. I even got to the point to where I began to feel depressed because I just didn't know if it was ever going to work for me. But then here's what happened next. I found this system, and the system that I market on the internet, it's called Empower Network. Some of you watching right now, you're in Empower Network already. Some of you have your own business, and that's fine too. It doesn't matter what yours is, but then you state what you found, the breakthrough that you had. So it could be, but then I found, this, and if it's in a video where you're selling somebody something, then it could be, and then I found the information that I'm going to share with you in this video. And again, that's another hook. That's another open loop, which I'll share with you how an open loop works here in just a little bit. So that's how the story works, though. So it's followed by the breakthrough. And if you're just selling a system, like then I found the Empower Network system. And I'll show you what you need to do in that now part here in a second. Where then I found the information in this email that I'm about to share with you. And now here's what I've done. And this is the next part of your content. And this is what is called the proof, right? You have to actually prove that what you have to offer and what you're sharing with them actually works. Now, I know a lot of people, you're like new or something like that, and that's okay too. Or maybe you don't have the big proof, you haven't made over $100,000, and that's fine, right? What you can do if you don't have credibility yourself yet is you can borrow it from others. So let me actually show you an example of how you do that. So like in a video, let's say in your business you have, your mentor has made money or has gotten a good result. So you can say something like, I felt frustrated and I got depressed, but then I found this system, and my mentor, he's used this information that I'm about to share with you, and he's used this system to create a 6-figure income from home. So what I'm sharing with you absolutely works. You need to have some sort of a proof. You have to build credibility, because if you don't give people a reason to stick around, they're just not going to stick around and watch the video, right? So you basically start off with your hook, your claim. Hey there, my friend, inside of this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a 6-figure income from home. It wasn't so long ago that I remember feeling frustrated because I struggled in my business for a long time. But then here's what happened. I found the information that I'm going to share with you in this video, and then all of a sudden I was able to start creating these results. I now just got my first 10 leads online. In fact, my mentor, he's used this same system and the information I'm sharing with you now to do over 6 figures in his business. So this works. I need you to pay attention to what I have to share. Does all of that make sense? I'm just going to see real quick. Actually, I think I break it off at 5. So I'm going to give you the next one, and then I'm going to see if anyone has any questions for what I'm saying here. So that's the first 3 things. Number 4, and this is like crucial. This is like the one that you have gotta have because it'll just make your life way easier, and this will just make your conversion skyrocket. This I put into everything that I'm doing, and that is the problem. You need to really dig into the problems that your prospect has, the problem that the viewer, whoever's watching your video, you need to dig into what problem they have, and you need to dig into the reason why they aren't where they want to be in life, right? Because people, basically, if you could like imagine people as like a little circle, right? Imagine people as, actually I think I have a thing to draw. Let's see. Yes, I do. Okay, so imagine people are like this circle right here, right? That is like someone's life. Well, the truth is, where do they want to be? They want to have a life that's like out here, right? This is where they want their life to be, and this is where they are. And so in your sales copy, when you're selling stuff, and in your videos and emails and blog posts, you basically want to meet them where they are here. This is their problems, right? And you want to take them from the problem to where they want to be. But for them to know where they want to be, you first have to dig into the problems that they have right now. And I'll give you some examples of this right now. So like if you're selling a training on how to generate traffic, it could really be anything. If you're selling anything, let's just do an example. If you're selling a training on how to generate traffic, you obviously need to explain why not having traffic is such a huge problem. Because if you don't have leads, then you really don't have a business, right? Whenever I was getting people to come to this webinar, what did I do? I dug into the problem, and I'll actually show the entire copy of what I used to get people to this webinar, right? I'll show that entire copy. But what did I do is I dug into the problems that people have if you're not able to convert people in your business. If you're not able to get someone to make a decision to buy, you're going to have problems. You're not going to be able to make the money you want to make. If you're not able to make the money you want to make, you're not going to be able to go on the vacations. You're not going to be able to buy the nice houses. You're not going to be able to spend time with your family, right? So you need to be able to paint these problems that your viewer has. And so if I were you at the end of this training tonight, or even if you're watching this in the future, you're not watching it live, you're watching it as a course, you might want to pause it right now and think about the product you're selling. If it's a network marketing business, for example, if it's a system, if it's just a product, think about that product and write down all of the problems that product solves, because that's the solution and that's the next step, right? But first, and this is important, this is actually where you educate your prospects. And here's the coolest thing about this piece, right? In our kind of a business, which coming from like the network marketing background, in a network marketing business, the truth is people will join you in this business really for only one reason, and that's because they believe that you can help them get what they want. And if they don't believe that, they're not going to join you. Well, what's the best way to prove to someone that you can help them get what they want? It's by already helping them. It's by already establishing your authority. So whenever you're painting out their problems, they now begin to look at you as the authority. This builds even as much as, if not more, credibility than showing your proof. Because if you can describe your prospects' problems better than they can describe their problems themselves, then they'll trust you automatically. They'll automatically see you as an authority. And I'll show you how I did this myself here in just a little bit. And that leads me to step number 5, which is the solution. And this is the part of your sales process where you share what you got. So far, real quick, let me just review real quick, and then I'll get into explaining what the solution looks like. So number 1, we hook our viewer, right, or our reader. And I'm just going to call it a viewer as a video, but it could be in an email. Again, I use the same formula in email, in long-form sales letters, in Facebook ads, and everything. So number 1 is you hook. You grab their attention. Here's what you're going to get by reading this, by watching this. That's the number 1 thing you do. Step 2, you build that bond through your story of trust, right? So here's your hook. Next step, you build your bond with your story of trust. Here's how I felt. And whenever you're sharing those emotions, that's what gets people to trust you, because then they start feeling those emotions themselves. Number 3, you give them proof, right? You show them, why should you listen to me? Well, here's what I've done. Here's what my mentor has done. Here's the success that this system has created. And this could be for anything that you're selling. If you're selling a weight loss product, you know, all these people, look at these people who have bought this weight loss product, or look at the people who paid attention to this video and look at all of the weight they were able to lose, right? So it could be anything, but you need to prove it. You need to build credibility at the beginning of all of your content. Then what you do is you paint out the problem that they have right now. And a lot of times in my copy, I'll say, look, here's the problem you have right now. I'll actually come out and just say that, and then I'll paint out all of their problems. The next step is the solution. And this is where you share what you got, right? This is the next step. For example, here's like something that I would say. Again, my system that I use is Empower Network. Yours could be anything. You could be in a different business. It doesn't matter what you're promoting. It can sound, you can use the same verbiage, right? So right after I paint out all of their problems, I would say something like, and that brings me to the Empower Network system, which will actually eliminate all of those problems. Let me show you right now how it does that. So I'm painting out all of the problems, letting them see all of the pain they're going to have, and then immediately after, you paint out the solution. And this is a big, big, big step, because here's what a lot of people do, a mistake a lot of people make when they're selling, is that they leave the solution for like the very end of the video. So they're basically like selling, painting out problems. They go through like all 9 steps of the thing, and then at the very, very end, they leave the first call to action. So here's the product, go ahead and buy, and then they just turn off the video or whatever. But that's a big problem, because you want the solution to be about halfway through all of your content, whether it's an email or a video or whatever, so that you can continue to sell them over and over and over and over again, right? Whenever you're selling on the internet, a lot of times it takes about 7 exposures before someone will make a buying decision, right? So they need to see multiple videos. Well, the same is true within one video. The more times someone hears your call to action, the more likely they are to buy, right? So if you can keep people watching in your video as you keep giving them more and more call to actions, keep selling, keep providing more value, and go through these next couple of steps, if you can keep doing that, they're a lot more likely to buy than if at the very end you're like, and now here's the Empower Network system, go ahead and buy and I'll see you later, right? That's what a lot of people do with their content, and the reason why it doesn't convert is because people want more information, right? A lot of times people are like, well, no one's going to sit there and watch a 20-minute video, but the truth is buyers do. Buyers will watch long videos, right? Buyers will watch very long videos. Think about a time in your life when you bought something. For example, whenever I bought my MacBook Pro, which is what I'm making this video on right now, this webinar, whenever I bought that, I wanted information. I started doing all of this research. I went to the Apple website every day. If they had an hour-long sales video for this MacBook Pro, I would have watched the entire thing because I was in research mode. And whenever people are looking to make a buying decision on a business opportunity, they're that same way. They're in research mode. They want more information. They want to hear from you. And so you give the solution about halfway through, and then after the solution, you get to the next 6 steps, which I'm going to give you here in a second. So I'm just going to stay halfway there, and then what I'm going to do is see if anyone has any questions about anything I've covered so far. So here's where we are so far. Here's the steps in all of your content. Number 1, you hook. You grab their attention with, here's what you're going to learn by watching this video. Grab their attention. Number 2, story of trust. The pains that you felt, right? Build that trust. Get them to like you. Step 3, you need to prove that it works. Give them a reason to pay attention to you. Again, you can borrow other people's credibility if you don't have it yourself yet, and by borrowing other people's credibility in the beginning, eventually you'll be able to get your own credibility. Next, you paint out the problem that they have. Next, you present the solution, which is your business or your product or whatever, right? So these are the first 5 steps of selling, and we have 5 more steps. I just want to see if anyone has any questions first. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask them now. As of right now, it doesn't look like we have. Okay, it looks like, never mind, we do have some questions here. So let's see. I can hear you. I hear you. Sounds good. Awesome. Already worth. Cool. Awesome. So yeah, if anyone has any questions, I'm just going to leave it up. I know that whenever you're doing like a webinar like this, there's like a lag on it. So if anyone has any questions, go ahead and ask them now. And I'm just going to refresh a couple of times here, see if there's any questions on any of the stuff that I've shared. And this is like seriously the gold, guys. Like if I would have had this when I got started, 5 years ago in my business, I wouldn't have struggled for 4 years. It maybe would have taken me about 6 months to figure it out. I would have had a 6-figure year probably within my first or second year, not 5 years, because this is what works. This is what the gurus do. Every big sales presentation you've ever seen has these 10 steps in it. You could go watch 100 sales videos right now, and I guarantee they all follow this exact formula. They all do. This is what the gurus do, right? This is what they do, and I'm breaking it down for you. It looks like we might have gotten one question here, so oops, that's the wrong thing. Manage questions. Let's see. Great info. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are liking the info. I appreciate it. Let's see. I'm just going to refresh one more time. Okay, no questions, so let's get back into it. Boom. So here's halfway there. Hook, story of trust, proof, problem, solution. Write those 5 down, and let's get to number 6 here. I'm just grabbing a drink of water. Okay. Number 6 is features and benefits, right? So this is where you start to describe what you're selling. Here's what you're going to get, basically. So it's basically like, you hook them in. Here's what I got. In my example, here's what I got. I got the Empower Network system, and here are the features. Here are the benefits of getting the Empower Network system. Here's what you're going to get, right? And this is super important, and I'll explain all of this here in a second. But a feature, it's important to understand the difference between a feature and a benefit. A lot of people are like, people buy benefits, not features, or people buy features, not benefits. The truth is you need both. Whenever you're selling, you need both features and benefits. You can't just have one without the other. And a feature is like a thing, right? Like the car is red. That would be a feature of a car. It's red, right? A benefit is what that thing will do for someone. So in that example, it'd be because the car is red, you'll feel powerful driving down the road. because everyone will notice you. That's a benefit of driving a red car, right? And so whenever you're looking at, your widget, let's say you're selling a thing on traffic. Well, the feature would be, this comes with 4 videos. Video 1 is going to teach you how to get traffic on Facebook. That's a feature, right? But if the benefit of that would then be, and it's going to teach you how to get traffic on Facebook so that you can begin to generate traffic, leads, and sales, so that you can begin to make money, so that you can go on the vacations and do all the things that you've always wanted to do. You can go live your dreams because you have this Facebook secret, right? And so let me get to the next slide here. So this right here is where you explain exactly what the person is going to get when they make a decision to buy and what that decision will do for them. And I'm actually going to show you some examples of this here in a little bit of how I do this, but it's very important to be very detailed here. Whenever someone is looking to make a buying decision, again, going back to the info from earlier, right? People want information when they're looking to make a buying decision, and so you want to give them everything you've got. Here's this thing. For example, whenever someone joins Empower Network for $197, what do they get? Well, they get a viral blogging system. That's a feature. That's a thing they get. They get the viral blogging system. Well, what is that going to do for them? Well, they can begin to blog and start generating traffic on the internet, so then get autopilot traffic, so then get leads and sales and commissions and start making money, right? They also are going to get Empower Network's 8-step fast start training. Well, what's that training going to do for them? Well, it's going to show them exactly what they need to do on a daily basis to start getting the results they want in their business, right? And so whenever you're describing your thingy, whatever it is, it could be a product, it could be anything. So basically, you go through the formula, you describe the problem, you say, hey, here's the solution. It's the Empower Network system, or whatever your company is. And I keep using that as an example because I think it's better just to use a real-life example of something that I actually know about than to, give a bunch of fake examples and stuff like that. So I'm just using in real life. If you're not in Empower Network, no big deal, right? You can use this for whatever you're promoting, whatever you're selling. It doesn't really matter, right? But you describe it. So like, here's the thing that you're going to get. Here's the business. Here's what you're going to get when you buy, and here's why you want that stuff. Here's the benefits of having that. You need to have both. You can't just say, hey, you're going to get the viral blogging system. It's like, what value does that have to somebody, right? Hey, you're going to get Empower Network's 8-step fast start training. Well, what value does that have, right? They need both. They need to get the value that it has, right? You need to give them the features and the benefits, right? So you explain what they're going to get when they buy. Very, very, very important to do that. For a long time, I was like, well, this is like a boring part of the video, so I'm just going to kind of skim on this part because it's kind of boring, and it is kind of boring in your videos. If you watch, a video that's like 20 minutes long, the most boring part of that video will be the features and the benefits part, the what you're going to get part. But the truth is, people who buy, they want that information. They have to have that information to make a solid buying decision, so you need to paint that out for them. So that's the next thing that you have, is the features and the benefits. The next thing, and this is super important, if you've ever read the book called Influence, which if you haven't, I would just go ahead and write it down. It's by Robert Cialdini, and he is awesome. It's just called Influence. I would write it down and I would buy it if this interests you. If you want to build a skill of selling stuff, if you want to understand how to get people to buy like crazy, it's an awesome book, and there's basically 6 emotional triggers that will make someone buy something or make someone make a decision, right? And one of them is social proof. You've got to have it in your stuff, right? You need to prove that it's not just working for you, but that it's working for a lot of people. And the other thing with this is, whenever you're saying, hey, it's working for these people, you're also telling them, hey, other people are buying it. It's one of the most important parts of your entire sales process, and it needs to be in there, right? Like, think if you're watching like a video and it's like, hey, using this thing, I was able to lose 5 pounds. Like, that's all right. Someone would be like, okay, cool. But if they're like, hey, using this thing, here's all the features and the benefits, and using this thing, I've been able to lose 5 pounds. Not only that, but here's Mary. She was able to lose 10 pounds in her first week. And here's Bob. Bob was able to lose 15 pounds in his first month. And here's Tim. Tim was able to lose 6 pounds in his very first 3 days. This isn't just working for me. This is working for lots of people. It can work for you too. You see the power of having social proof. It has to be in your stuff. And again, it doesn't have to be like directly related to you, but it has to be related to the product or service. So if you don't have any social proof at all, it'll be a little bit more difficult to sell in the beginning. Your conversion rates won't be quite as good, but what you can do is you can just start selling your thing, and over time you'll build more and more and more and more social proof, and you can sell easier and easier and easier, which is the value of being an affiliate, right, or in a network marketer. Because in a network marketing company or an affiliate marketing company, there's lots of proof inside of that company, right? So you aren't creating your own product and stuff like that, so you don't need your own proof of yourself. There's lots of proof within that company that you can go and find, but find that proof so that you can show people this works for people. The next step after you give the social proof, right? And one little caveat and one thing I would like to point out about this video is that even though these are 10 steps, it doesn't always have to be in this exact order. You can kind of play with the order a little bit, but if you go watch 100 videos, probably 50% of them will actually be in this exact order. Again, it doesn't have to be all the time, but they do all need to have these 10 pieces, whether they're in this exact order or not. So the next step is called the irresistible offer. And this is crucial, right? Actually, each step is crucial. And to have an irresistible offer, an offer that they're like, I would just be dumb if I didn't buy this, an offer that's just so overwhelmingly awesome that they just have to make a decision to pull out their credit card and buy right that very moment. You need to have these three things. Number one is value stacking. What's value stacking? Well, that's adding on more and more and more value, right? So how do people do that? Well, a lot of times they add on bonuses. They're like, not only, if you buy today, not only are you going to get, this awesome thing, you're also going to get this bonus, right? Or, oh, I actually forgot to mention that inside that product, you're also going to learn this. You're stacking the value, giving them more and more and more things, right? Think about it in terms of like, those like weight things where it like measures which side is like heavier or whatever, right? Think about that, and think about like in the beginning, they're like all the way up, like in a place of like not buying. And every time you add like more value and use one of these steps, you're basically piling on weight, right? You're basically piling on gold coins that are getting them more and more and more likely, and then all of a sudden they'll just drop and they'll just make a decision to buy, right? That's kind of how buying works. The second thing that you need is obviously a good price. Now, the price doesn't actually matter. A lot of people, they think that price matters, but you can sell very, very expensive stuff. I'm actually going to be going to an event this weekend, and people paid $4,000 to attend the event, right? And it's going to be worth it. $4,000, right, to go to an event, and I'm going to be there speaking at it, right? And so people pay a lot of money for things. In fact, there are people that charge like $20,000 a month for coaching. So the price doesn't actually matter that much. I'm going to show you how to make it look like it's a good price. And it needs to be a good price. You need to give more value. People that pay $20,000 for coaching, a lot of times the return on that investment is much greater than the $20,000, right? The people that go to the event, they're going to be learning from people who have made hundreds of thousands of dollars. I believe the speakers at that event have done something around $3 million in commissions in the last year, right? That's how much commissions we've done, and I'm only 100,000 of that, so I'm alongside some really awesome speakers, right? So they've done like 3 million commissions, right? That's a lot of money. So paying $4,000 to learn how to do something like that, it's actually, it's not a bad deal. It's actually a really, really, really good deal, but I'm just saying that the price, it doesn't matter, right? And I'm going to show you how you can do that through a couple of cool things here in a little bit. The next thing you have to do is you have to eliminate the risk. How do you do that? Well, that's where you offer like a guarantee. Now, the system that I'm a part of, Empower Network, if you're in that system, it comes with a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if they buy, well, within 14 days they can get their money back. So there's really no risk on their part. You need to eliminate the risk, right? So these are the three things. First, you stack the value. Second, you give them a good price, right? You give them a good price. Third, you eliminate the risk. So here's kind of like an example of how to do that. So not only are you going to get this super awesome training, but I'm also going to throw in this awesome bonus, and you're going to get it all, not for the $20,000 that I spent learning this stuff, but for only $10,000. Plus, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you don't fall in love with it, we'll give you your money back. It's really no big deal. Right? Does that all make sense to everyone? I hope that it does. If you could actually type like a yes in like the comments if that makes sense on how to create an irresistible offer. It needs to have all three of these things: value stacking, price, and I'm going to show you how this, it's actually in the 12 language hacks called price conditioning. That's where basically you go from lower prices to the price that you're selling, and then based on the perception of that price, it'll seem like a cheap price no matter what the actual cost of it is, right? Because it doesn't, cost is all relative, right? Cost is all relative. Like, for example, I spent over 20 grand myself before I ever even started making money. And a lot of people would look at $20,000 spent on internet stuff like that's just like crazy. But think about it. Over the last year, that 20 grand has made me over $100,000. Over my lifetime, we're talking millions of dollars. That investment, even though a lot of people would balk at it and be like, that's crazy, that investment will pay for itself 100,000 times over, right? So the cost isn't what's important. What's important is your return on your investment. And so that's why we can show you how to have a good price no matter what that price is. But you need to have all three of these steps to create the irresistible offer. Step number 9, and this is also crucial. I'm just going to grab a drink of water real quick. Is this all making sense to you? If you could give me like a yes if this is making sense to you, that would be awesome. It looks like actually I might have a couple more questions here. Okay, we can hear you already. Cool. Landon, yes. Landon, great stuff so far. About how long do you spend pointing out the problem on each of these steps, percentage-wise? You know, Ryan, that's like a really hard question to answer because it really just depends. Like some people, they might have like the perfect formula for how everything needs to be. Like the video needs to be 20 minutes, and I'm going to talk about each of these for, an individual length of time or whatever. But the truth is, you just need to give each step as long as they need to take, right? If your prospect has a ton of problems and your product is going to solve all of these problems, then list out all of their problems and go over them, right? Sometimes it's just, I wish I could give you like a super solid answer and be like, here's, the exact, it needs to be 1.5 minutes. The next thing needs to be 2 minutes. I wish I could do that for you, but I really can't. It really just depends on what's being sold. For example, if you're selling a $4,000 thing, you might need to dig into each product a little bit more than if you're selling a $100 thing, right? So it really just depends on what you're selling, how much it costs, what the problems are, what the pain is. I try to keep them all, fairly short, as short as I can, while also at the same time digging into all of the problems. So I don't like skimp out on problems so that it can be shorter. I hope that sort of answers your question in like a weird way, yeah, so there's that. Let's see. No more questions? Awesome. And if you have any more questions, guys, as I'm going here, type them up there, and I'll get to them whenever I get to number 10 at the next break. I'll get to your questions. But here's the next thing, and that's urgency. You have to give people a reason to buy right now, because the truth is if people put it off till later, they won't buy. And I wish they would just buy later, right? But people don't. They don't buy later. You have to give them a reason to buy right now. You have to give them a reason to make a decision, and that's really what selling is. Selling is getting people to make decisions right then and there that are in their best interest, right? A lot of people, they get the wrong idea, like we're manipulating people or something. We are not manipulating people into doing anything. We're helping people make decisions that are in their best interest, right? If I didn't believe that my product was going to help people, I wouldn't be selling it. I believe it's in their best interest to buy because my products have helped me change my life. I believe they can change their life. So what am I doing? And I know that if I really want to help them, I have to give them a reason to buy right now. How do you do that? A few different ways, right? So here's kind of the 2 different ways you can do this. Number 1 is to limit it to a number of people. What did I do with this initial webinar? Now, those of you that are watching this as a course in the future, you weren't able to see the initial. But what I did in the beginning for the webinar is I limited the initial webinar that I'm recording it on right now to only 25 people. Why did I do that? Because I wanted to create urgency. If I said this is unlimited amount of people, there would have been people that wouldn't have bought. They would have held off. Oh, I can buy that tomorrow, and then they would have missed out, right? But by saying this is only for 25 people who act right now, it creates urgency, saying, oh, I need to make a decision right now. That's the first way to do it, and that's not always applicable in every situation. The other way is to give some sort of a discount or an offer that's only available for a certain number of times. So kind of some examples of this is the offer is only available for the first 10 people who decide to take action right now, or this offer is only good until midnight tonight, and then it's gone forever. Now, make sure you're truthful with this. Don't go making stuff up. Don't say, I only have 10 spots available. Then you go sell 500 or something like that. Make sure it's truthful what you're doing, but also give people a reason to buy right now. Create urgency, right? Get a little bit of scarcity, and that will drastically increase your conversion rate. So you have to have this in every single sales process, which leads us to step number 10. And this is the last and easiest step, though a lot of people, I don't know if they're like scared of doing this, but they just don't do it. And that's the call to action. You need to tell the person who's either watching your video, reading your email, or blog post exactly what they need to do next to buy right now. And it might not even be buy. It might just be enter in their email address, or to click on a link in a video, or to watch a video. It could be a bunch of different actions, but you need to tell them exactly what they need to do. And a lot of people, they're kind of like, honestly, I don't know why. I don't know if they're like scared of like, asking for someone's money. I'm not, right? I have like I believe my products are good for people, and I know that if you tell people exactly what they need to do, they're more likely to do it. The kind of marketing that we do is direct response, right? That's when you're basically telling people what to do and getting them to take actions right now. Unlike a lot of TV advertising, which a lot of TV advertising is more like branding and stuff like that. What we do is sort of like infomercial-like, where we're getting people to make decisions now. And so direct response, well, what are you doing in direct response? You're directing people. You're telling people exactly what they need to do. And if you would be surprised at the results that you'll get just by telling people what to do. It's the most amazing, it's the simplest, easiest thing you've ever done. Just by telling people exactly what to do, you'd be surprised at the amount of people who just do it. A lot of people will, right? Because that's what people like. We grow up and our parents tell us what to do. We go to school, our teachers tell us what to do. We go to a job, our bosses tell us what to do. People by nature love being told what to do, right? So you need to tell people what to do exactly. And here's an example of what that would look like. So you get to the end, you've gotten through all the steps, and again, I'm going to give you an entire example of how all of this fits together and how I've used this myself, right? But here's kind of what the call to action can look like when you're clear. So to buy right now, here's exactly what you need to do. You need to click that big bright yellow button directly below this video that says click here to get started now. And then what you need to do on the very next page, it's going to open up a form, and you need to fill out that form right now on the very next page and buy right now. You need to buy right now. Make a decision and buy right now. You see I'm like very clear there. I'm not like, what you maybe should do if you want to. I mean, I'm not going to tell you to do it, but if you wanted to, you can maybe click the button below. Right? Like people aren't going to do that, but if you're like, here's what you need to do, right? Here's exactly what you need to do, and here's something cool, okay? One of the bigger reasons why people won't do something is fear. And what that fear is, a lot of times, it's actually people's one of their biggest fears, which is actually the fear of the unknown. The fear of the unknown. It's one of people's biggest fears. And so there are people that, for whatever reason, unconsciously or consciously, won't click the button below to get started because they don't know what's going to happen next. They don't know what the next page is going to hold. Is it automatically going to charge my credit card if I click that button? Can they do that? What's going to happen when I click this button? And there will be people that won't buy if you don't tell them exactly what to do. So here's what you need to do. Click the button below. Fill out the form on the very next page and buy right now. It's a simple form. You'll type in your name, your email address, you'll enter in your credit card information, and you'll buy right now. You need to do that now. Does that make sense to everyone watching? And here's kind of the next little caveat. Then I'm going to run through all 10 real quick. Then I'm going to show you some real life examples. In your stuff, you need to constantly keep selling and embedding more buy commands, because the truth is, the more times you tell someone to buy, the more times someone hears that they need to buy, the more times they hear that, the more likely they are to buy. Right? So if you just tell someone to buy something once, they're not near as likely to buy something as if you tell them to buy 30 times. Does that all make sense to everybody? What you can do, let me actually run through these 10, then I'm going to see if anyone has any questions. So again, here's the 10 things that you need to sell something. Number 1 is the hook. Number 2 is the story of trust. Number 3 is proof. Number 4, problem. Number 5, solution. Features and benefits, social proof, irresistible offer, urgency, call to action. This is seriously the simplest, easiest thing ever. And why is it so easy? Because you can literally just have a checklist. Like you're writing an email, you're making a video. You have a checklist. You have these 10 things on it. It says hook. Well, let me think. What is something that will capture their attention? I know. I'll say, how would you like me to share with you how I've generated my first 15 leads on the internet? That's going to be the hook. Then story of trust. Well, how did I feel before I got those 15 leads that made me feel painful? Well, I felt frustrated because nothing was working for me. So first, I felt frustrated. Second, I used to feel rejected because before I started getting leads on the internet, my friends and family thought I was a doofus. So I felt frustrated. I felt rejected. There's the story of trust. But then I found the information in this video, and then what happened? Well, then I generated my first 15 leads on the internet, and I got my first sale. There's the proof. What's the problem that people have? Well, the problem that people have in this situation is they don't know how to generate traffic on the internet, right? And I do now because I just got my first 15 leads. So here's the problem you have right now. You don't know how to get traffic on the internet, but I just got my first 15 leads. So what's the solution? Well, I just created this little course. It's only 10 bucks, and I'm actually going to show you how I got my first 15 leads on the internet. It's called my secret traffic formula. And I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. Here's exactly what you're going to learn inside. Does that all make sense to everybody? If you have any questions about everything that I'm doing there, you can literally run along that checklist and you can just sell like crazy. Keep cutting out audio-wise. I'm sorry that I'm cutting out, guys. Can everyone hear me right now? And again, I'm actually recording this myself, so I'll put my recording up as well. But let me know if you can hear me right now. Just type yes if you can hear me. But again, I'll actually I'll make sure that I put up my recording of it as well. That won't cut in and out, so you can actually watch the replay even if you're watching it live right now. But let me know if you can hear me. Okay. Let's see. No one answering yet, but it looks like that makes sense. Is everyone liking this information? Does everyone think, do you think that you can use this formula to sell stuff, to get people to buy like crazy, right? You see how simple this is, how laughably, I'm going to show you here in just 1 second with this case study, how just laughably simple this is, right? Here in just 1 second. I just want to make sure people can hear me. Can you hear me? Will you answer yes or no if you can hear me? I mean, I hope people can hear me. No one's answering yet. Let's see. Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to go to the next part since no one's answering here, and I am going to actually show you the case study of this, and you guys are going to, you guys are just going to love this. So those of you that are watching the webinar live right now, which obviously everyone watching right now would know who you are, you might remember the Facebook post that I put up selling this webinar, right? I just put a Facebook post up, and this Facebook post actually sold 25 people. It actually sold out. We only had 25 seats available, and I actually sold all 25 seats with a Facebook post. I didn't, not my list or anything like that. With just a Facebook post, I was able to sell out all of my spots. I was able to sell all 25 spots with a Facebook post. Well, here's the cool thing about this Facebook post. In the Facebook post that I used to get 25 people on this webinar initially, all I did was follow these 10 steps. I'm going to show you that right now. And if you're watching this in the future, in the course, and in the product that I'm making, I'll actually be following these 10 steps in the video that I'll be using to sell it as well. So you might even remember back to the video that you watched where you decided to buy this course, and you'll actually remember me following these steps. So here's the exact ad that I used. So let me just check real quick, see if there's any questions or anything. Okay, let's see. On air, manage questions. Here we go. Yes, absolutely awesome, loud and clear. Awesome, perfect. Thank you guys so much. But yeah, so here was the Facebook post. I put this up on Facebook, and again, it sold 25. It sold out for me, and it followed these 10 steps exactly. So here was first step 1 was the hook, right? And here was my hook. How would you like me to show you exactly how I've done over $150,000 in sales online live this Wednesday night? Then keep reading. So what did I do there? I told them exactly what to do. So here's the hook. Then I told them exactly what to do. Keep reading, right? So then what did I need to do next? I needed to input my story of trust. And I said, I don't know if you're familiar with my story or not, but I actually struggled in my business for over 4 years before I had even a sliver of success. I remember before I actually started making money, feeling so frustrated, right, just like I showed you earlier, all the time, because I've been working on my business, yet it hadn't been working for me. In fact, about a year ago, I got so fed up that I was about this close to giving up on my dreams. So that's the story of trust. This is what builds the bond. And because this was on my personal Facebook, I didn't need to go too deep into that. I didn't have to, spell out, a bunch of personal stories or anything like that to build that bond, because a lot of the people, they at least semi-know who I am. Next, what did I do? Next, I proved it, right? But then I discovered the formula. And this would actually be the next part of this thing, right? So the breakthrough. But then I discovered the formula that I'm going to share with you Wednesday night. And all of a sudden, all at once, the pieces started to fit together for me. And I started recruiting new people in my business almost every single day. So here I'm painting out the dream. Within 60 days, I went from sponsoring 6 people in 4 years to sponsoring 80 people in 2 months. I've now personally enrolled over 350 people in my business and done over $150,000 in sales, all online, without picking up the phone or talking to friends and family. And this is another thing that I'm doing here, and this is basically handling objections. Now, obviously, the easiest way to sell to somebody is to talk to them in person. Why is that the easiest way? Because if they have an objection, you'll be able to answer. They're like, well, I don't know, it seems like I might have to talk to friends and family if I did this. And then you could just say, no, you don't have to talk to friends and family. Well, whenever you're selling through video and emails, you don't actually know what people's objections are going to be, so you sort of have to guess. And I know that whenever someone reads that, oh, well, you might have enrolled 350 people, but you probably talk to your friends and family. You're probably on the phone all day and night. I'm not interested in that. But then what did I do? I handled that objection before they even had it. I said, no, I did it without picking up the phone or talking to my friends and family. And then I included income disclosure. Use income disclosures, right? You don't want to get shut down. You don't want to get a company shut down. So then what did I do after proof? I started going into the problem. I said, so if you aren't having the kind of success that you want yet, there's a reason why. And here's what that reason is. Hint, it's probably not what you think. Here I'm sort of building curiosity, getting them to read, opening up a loop, which I'll explain all of that stuff here in just a little bit in the 12 language hacks at the end of this video. And so I say, here's the problem. So most people are led to believe by gurus that their biggest roadblock to making money online is generating traffic, but that's not actually true, and I can prove it to you. Now, this has a few cool things. Number one is I'm making fun of gurus by spelling it this way, and so I'm actually establishing a common enemy, because people will do things for people who believe in their dreams and throw rocks at their enemies, and I'm doing both in this post. So I'm kind of creating this enemy. Like, if you're not succeeding, it's not your fault, it's the guru's fault. They told you this. They lied to you. It's not actually true what they're saying, and I can prove it to you. Again, I'm building more curiosity, right? Let me ask you this. Then here I'm asking a question. If you knew for sure that every single lead you generated was going to make you $12 like mine did, would you have any trouble generating traffic or at all? And here I'm kind of dispelling a myth. Of course you wouldn't. Don't be silly. If you had that ability, your traffic generation problems would literally just disappear right before your eyes, like ice cream melting on a hot summer day. And this is a metaphor, and in those language hacks, I'm going to explain the importance of metaphors. In fact, generating traffic would be the easiest thing you've ever done, because if your average lead was $12, you'd be spending $1 to make $4. How many dollars would you put into an ATM if you knew that for every $1 you put in, $4 would come back out? Now, that's obviously not a guarantee of income. That's just an example to show you that what can happen as you begin to pay attention to. This is called an embedded command, and I'll get into that in a minute, and understand that your real problem, so again, I'm still painting out the problem here. Your real problem is not traffic, it's actually conversions, right? If you aren't making the kind of money you deserve to make right now, the biggest reason why is that you may not understand yet the secret to taking a lead who may not even know who you are and helping them to make a decision to buy from you. Now, this is, again, another embedded command, and I'll explain those here in a little bit. So what's the solution? So I literally say, here's the problem you have. What's the solution? I'm literally just saying exactly what I'm using in these 10 steps, which I just think is funny. And I did that on purpose. I made it even obvious on purpose so that I could go back to it. But I actually used this same verbiage in almost all of my videos and emails and everything that I do. So what's the solution? Now I'm painting out the solution, what they're going to get. Well, this Wednesday night, I'm doing a brand new live webinar where I'm going to show my entire secret conversion formula. And I can use this formula to start creating, this is an embedded command, use this formula, start creating the results results you want in your business. And as you watch this webinar, here's what you can expect to learn, right? So here's what you can expect to learn. So now I'm diving into what? The features and benefits, what they're going to get when they're on the webinar. And so here's the features and benefits. You'll discover a formula for helping people to make a decision to buy that is now proven to work as well as, if not better than anything else out there. The webinar is this Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and it'll go for about 2 hours, and it will be recorded. And again, here I'm handling objections. Well, I'm not going to be able to watch it live on Wednesday night, so I'm just not even going to bother. But I'm handling that objection within the copy. No, don't worry. You can still buy even if you can't watch it live because it will be recorded. All right. So here's the features and the benefits. And I don't dive into these too much here. I actually dive into them more towards the end, right? A lot of times in my copy, I'll dive into the features and benefits a lot more right there. But this is a little bit different since it was on Facebook. The next thing I did was social proof. Using the formula that you're about to learn on Wednesday, I've personally been able to transform my entire life. This formula can be used to sell anything on any platform. And these are more features and benefits. You'll learn how to use this formula to sell within videos, emails, blog posts, Facebook ads, and I'll actually give you examples and full-fledged case studies showing you exactly how this formula works. Let me ask you this. How would you like to have the ability to put up a quick video on YouTube or send out a quick email? And why am I asking this question right here? Well, whenever you ask a question like that, the answer is automatically yes. Like, how would you like the ability to start making a bunch of money? Well, the answer to that is yes. And whenever you're selling, that's what's called trial closing. Within your copy, you want to get people answering yes as many times as possible. Because whenever you get people making little yeses, that'll lead to the big yes, which is making a buying decision. And then I'm just selling more. This isn't theory. This is proven to work. I'm going to show you a real formulaic framework that you can use to sell anything, anytime. Plus, and this is the value stacking. Plus, I start value stacking here. Plus, I'll hand you a plug-and-play sales system that has already worked well for me, where you can simply plug in your own words and run with it. So here's the deal. Now I'm presenting the irresistible offer. I'm doing this webinar because I'm going to sell it as a product for a few $100 in the near future. But because you'll be watching the unedited, uncut, unfiltered version of it, you're not going to have to pay a few $100s within this webinar. In fact, to be on it live, watching for anyone else, it won't cost you. And here I'm price conditioning, which I'm going to go over that in the 12 language hacks. And I blurred out the prices because I'm going to be split testing a bunch of different prices in the future, from $100 to $300 and things like that. And then so I'm basically making the value of it and the price of it, like it could be $1,000, but it's not $1,000, or this dollar or this dollar. You can be on this webinar learning the biggest secret to creating an income for only, let's see, let's delete that out of there, right? I'll delete that out. Plus, if you feel you haven't over-delivered by a lot, shoot me a message and I'll send you your money back. No worries, it's really no big deal. And I'll give you the link to watch the replay anyways. So this is the irresistible offer. So I'm saying, you know, here's the bonuses that you're going to get for attending. If you don't like it, I'm actually going to give you your money back. It's no big deal. And then I create the urgency. It's only available for the first 25 people. Then the call to action. Here's how you can register right now. So I tell them exactly what they need to do. And then I break down, again, more features and benefits. So here's what you're going to learn. The formula. This is how I'm going to show you this. And I keep breaking it down, and I keep selling and selling and selling and selling. So as you can see, you're all here watching this webinar right now because of this formula that I just proved to you that it works, right? I just proved to you that it works, and it's simple, it's easy. I literally just had those 10 things on a Microsoft Word document, and I had hook, and I just literally wrote in the hook. I had proof, I just wrote in the proof, and I just literally just took it step by step by step and created a sales piece that converted like crazy for me. How awesome is that? Does that make sense to everybody? I hope you guys see how awesome that is, and that I just proved to you that this works better than anything else. Not cutting out at all. Awesome, awesome. If you guys could just let me know if this is awesome to you, because I feel like I'm giving you guys the freaking goods here. Like, this is like gangster stuff. I actually got a few like high-level marketers read this post and were like, holy crap, that's like amazing copy, right? And it's like I didn't do anything special. All I did was just follow this proven 10-step formula, right? It's the simplest thing ever. Whenever you have a map that you can follow. So whenever you're putting up a video, you're writing a video or an email or anything, you can literally just take those 10 steps, have them down, depending on what kind of medium. If it's like a full-fledged sales video, you can really sell in each of those steps. If it's just an email, each step could be like a sentence. You could just have, you know, one sentence hook, one sentence trust story. Like, I used to feel so frustrated, but then here's what I found. one sentence of proof. You could just do it in 1 or 2 sentences each and have a full-fledged sales email that only take you 5 or 10 minutes to write. This is the easiest, simplest thing that I've ever done in my entire life. How awesome is that? If you could just tell me if that's awesome, that would be great. And if you have any questions, let me know now, because I'm about to dive into the next step here. And I'm actually going to do a live example of that after I give you these language hacks. I'm going to get into them here in a second. I just want to see if you have any questions. If you have any questions, ask them now. And I'm going to dive into questions. Okay, I got one more comment. I don't know if it's a comment or a question. Great stuff. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope you guys are getting value out of this, because I'm trying to give you guys the goods, doing everything I can. I want to make this worth your money and then some. I want to make this training worth at least $1,000. And if it's not, then there's a problem, because I want to make this worth your money. And this has worked for me like crazy. It's the easiest thing that I've ever done, and it works better than everything that I've ever done. And I now use this formula in literally everything. And if you start using this, right, I don't want you to just look at it and say, that's cool. I want you to apply it. I want you to take it. And no matter what you're doing, if you're selling, your business, make a quick video and use all of these steps in there. Write out a quick email, put up a quick Facebook post, and have all of these in there. I want you to use this information because it works, and it'll work for you. And if you sell stuff and you have people actually watching that stuff, you're able to get traffic to it, I'm telling you, I promise you, it'll convert for you. This is proven to work. Now I'm going to give you, this is actually my favorite part. This is something that I've studied for about a year now, which is basically cool language stuff. So like within this copy, I had a bunch of different language hacks. I'm going to go through and I'll point out some of them here in a little bit. And I'm going to show you these 12 different language hacks. And these are basically pieces of language that you can embed into your sales material, into your emails and videos that will absolutely just skyrocket your conversions if you know this stuff. This has done more for my conversions than anything else, and it's just super awesome. So let's get into what they are. First, let me just see if there was any questions or anything, and then we are going to dive into these language hacks. And this is my favorite part. You guys are just going to love this stuff. This is like the guru stuff that they have that like no one else has, right? This info is great. Awesome stuff. Is insane. I feel like I have the Moore's map of Hogwarts of the internet marketing world. Awesome, Sean. Can we get copies of your slides so we can have examples? Yes, I'll give you copies of the slides as well. And underneath this video will be, like if you're watching this in the future, it'll be directly underneath this video. If you're watching this live on the webinar right now, it's like on the video and then to the left. So it's like, here's the page that the webinar is on. It's like down here, and it says webinar information, then it says secret conversion formula case study, and that's this Microsoft Word file, the original file that I used to sell it on Facebook. So yes, we will have that for you, and I'll make the slides for you as well. So if you're watching this in the future, the slides will be under this video. If you're watching it on the webinar right now, get me up on Facebook after this, and I'll send you the slides so you can have all the examples and everything. But now we're going to get into the guru stuff. This is the stuff that like people know who sell a ton of, like I'm talking millions of dollars a year, and they don't teach to anybody because it's sort of been secret for a long time. And some of it's not so secret, some of it's super secret, and it's awesome. It's taken me years, and literally I've spent thousands of dollars and years of studying and reading book after book after book to learn this stuff, and this is my top 12 language hacks, right? So number one, and this one's awesome, this is what's called the open loop. And the open loop is simple. I probably should have actually explained what it was right there on each slide, but the open loop is basically, here actually I have an example of what that is. So here's like an example of an open loop. I'm about to show you exactly how I've done over $150,000 in sales online, but first let me tell you a quick story. It's sort of like a cliffhanger, right? Whenever you watch like a TV show that runs once a week, what do they do at the end of every episode? Well, they leave like a cliffhanger. Why do they do that? So you have to watch next week, right? Well, the same is true when you're writing. Like for example, if you go back to into this case study that I did earlier, what did I do? I had a few open loops. I had hint, it's probably not what you think, right? That's an open loop. I'm basically building curiosity. I also had, I think I had one more, I don't remember exactly where it was, but a lot of times I'll actually say, hey, I'm about to show you this, but before I do, let me tell you a quick story. And whenever you do that, now all of a sudden it's like an itch in their brain where they have to find out the end of the thing, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I need to find out what happens. So by building that curiosity, they'll watch more of the video. And the secret to selling is to get people to watch, right? Because if someone watches an entire video, they're way more likely to buy than if they just watch the first couple of seconds. So I use open loops. I use a lot of them in the beginning of my videos. I use a lot of them throughout my videos and my emails and stuff like that. And it's just powerful. Don't use them too much, obviously, but like if you are in Power Network, Dave Wood, you'll notice, if you start paying attention to this, you'll notice that he'll be in the middle of one story, he'll start talking about another story, and then another story, and then before you know it, there's like 10 different stories, and then he'll come back and close them all, and sometimes he'll forget a few of them. And that's really, really good, because then people have to keep paying attention, right? People have to keep paying attention to what you're saying, and that's really powerful. And what I just did right there is an embedded command. What did I just say? I just said, and keep paying attention, right? I just said that within my language, and that's what an embedded command is. And I use these like crazy. This is my favorite one. It's the most gangster language hack you will ever learn in your entire life, and if you use this, the results you get are unimaginable what you can do when you understand the embedded command. So what's an embedded command? An embedded command is a piece of language where you're embedding a command within your language. So here's a couple examples. Then I'm actually going to go into the thing that I use to sell the webinar and show you that. So like an example of that would be, as you pay attention to this webinar, right? So I'm not saying, hey, you need to pay attention. That would be a direct command, which I'll get into that here in a second. But I'm saying, as you pay attention to this webinar, or in your sales copy, you can say, as you make a decision to get started, or as you make a decision to buy, or you could tell it within a story. When I first got started online, I watched a sales video, and then I made a decision to buy right then and there. Right? Well, what am I doing there? You're embedding a command in their unconscious mind, right? Even though I'm saying, and as you pay attention to this webinar, what is someone's unconscious mind hearing here? They're hearing pay attention, right? That's what someone hears when you say that. You're saying, as you make a decision. Well, they're still hearing make a decision. So what did I do in this copy? Let me see if I can find a couple of my embedded commands. Exactly what I've done. How would you like me to show you exactly what I've done? I don't know if I'm familiar, but I actually struggle to remember. Feeling so frustrated. Discover the formula. Pieces. And then blah, blah, blah. Let's see if I can find. I know I used some. Probably whenever I get closer to the call to actions. Let's see if I can find some here. Okay, here we go. So here's the first embedded command, and a lot of times I'll use them in the beginning of my video. So I'll say things like, hey there my friends, my name is Landon Stewart, and as you watch this video, I'm going to share with you this, right? And so whenever you say, and as you watch this video, what are you doing? You're embedding the command to watch this video. So what did I do here? And as you begin to pay attention to. So I'm embedding the command to pay attention and understand that the real problem is not traffic, it's actually conversions. So then down here, and helping them to make a decision to buy. So whenever someone's reading this, I'm telling them to make a decision to buy, and what happens is, because it's embedded within language, there's no like filters on it. They're not like, because you're like, hey, you need to buy right now or whatever in the beginning of your thing, there's like a filter on it, and so people are kind of like, do I need to buy? But whenever you embed it within language, right, like I am right here, they're unconscious, it just soaks right into them. Make a decision to buy. It's like ringing in their unconscious the entire time they're reading it. It's like, make a decision to buy, make a decision to buy, over and over and over and over again. And I use it. I think I use a couple more here. Let's see. Okay, here we go, here we go. Your work is actually going to make you money because people are actually going to decide to pull out their credit card and buy. Like, I mean, I'm literally just saying, decide to pull out your credit card and buy, right? That's what I'm saying within the copy. But I'm not just saying, hey, you need to decide to pull out your credit card and buy. No, I'm embedding it within a story. And I say, how would you like to have the ability to put up a quick video on YouTube or send out a quick email to know that as you're doing it, your work is actually going to make you money because people are actually going to decide to pull out their credit card and buy based on the words you read and speak. So within that language, I'm embedding the commands. This is the most gangster thing ever. This, I promise you, if you use this, it will skyrocket your conversions. I promise you. And there's a place for direct commands too. And I'll get into the direct command here in a second. But embedded commands, as you watch this video, as you pay attention, as you make a decision, etc., as you buy, when you buy. Like sometimes in my videos I'll say something like halfway through, and as you continue to watch this video, I'm embedding the command to continue watching the video. The most gangster thing ever. It's awesome. That just makes me so excited. I love using them, and they just make people do the things that you want them to do. The next step is the metaphor. I'm going to grab a drink of water, then I'll explain metaphors. Now, metaphors are gangster because people's unconscious minds actually work in metaphors. Like if you look in the Bible, Jesus used metaphors all the time. Why? Because metaphors help people transform faster and easier than anything else, because your unconscious mind is what governs your transformation, right? Because like 95% of the things that you do on a daily basis are all controlled by your unconscious mind. So if you transform your unconscious mind, you'll transform your conscious mind in the decisions that you make on a day-to-day basis, and metaphors speak straight to your unconscious mind. In fact, whenever someone says, and you can go study this like in like therapy and stuff like that, they do this kind of stuff. But like if someone were to say, you know, I am so frustrated right now and it feels like I'm banging my head against a brick wall. Well, in their unconscious mind, as they say that, that's actually what they're doing. They're actually banging their head against a brick wall. And so you can actually help people change that pattern, not by removing their frustration or changing the actual situation, but just by removing the brick wall. Well, what if you just imagine for a second that that brick wall was ice cream and it got melted by the sun? Then how would you feel? And that will actually change the way people feel just based on the metaphor, right? Because metaphors are real. So whenever you're building metaphors, so what did I do in this? I used that ice cream one, right? I said, so basically, I paint out their pain, right? And then I'm basically like, let's see. Okay. Here we go. So first of all, so I'm painting out their pain and their problem, right? Then what do? Of course, don't be silly. If you have the ability, you know, to get to convert your leads, your traffic generation problems would literally just disappear right before your eyes, like ice cream melting on a hot summer day. So their unconscious mind is understanding what I'm saying. Metaphors are awesome because basically what a metaphor does is it takes something that's complex to learn and it makes it simple, right? It makes like a thing like, you know, if you learn how to convert and do all this stuff, you know, and you did all of this, then, you know, your traffic generation problems wouldn't be there anymore. But by putting it into a metaphor, it makes it easy to understand, and it helps their unconscious mind understand that information coming in, and it helps people transform and see their problem visually going away in their mind. Metaphors are gangster. I'm actually just starting the studying of metaphors, so I can't give you a ton more information on it because I'm really digging into it right now. I'm buying a book. I think it's called like The Metaphor is the Way. It's something like that is the book that I'm buying. I have it loaded up on Amazon. I'm going to be buying it as soon as I'm reading. I'm reading The Obstacle is the Way right now, and then I'm going to be reading this metaphor book, and it's going to be really, really good, teaching me how to use transformational metaphors in my language. And here's kind of an example from my Facebook post. Your traffic generation problems would literally just disappear right before your eyes, like ice cream melting on a hot summer day, right? Metaphors. Awesome. Awesome. The next one is using questions in your copy, and this is something that I do all the time. If you go back to my hook on this webinar, what did I do? How would you like me to show you exactly how I've done over $150,000 in sales online live this Wednesday night? Questions are awesome because it's impossible for people to ignore a question. They actually have to answer a question. And so by asking them a question, how would you like to learn exactly how I've done it? They have to answer yes, right? And so I'm presupposing they're going to answer yes right here. Because I say, then keep reading, right? There's no like, is your answer yes? No, I'm just saying, hey, I know you're going to answer that yes to that, because who wouldn't want to learn how I've done over $150,000 $150,000 in sales. So I'm telling them, keep reading. And so two awesome things happen. Number one is it gets people to pay attention because you're asking a question they're going to answer yes to. Number two awesome thing that happens is that it already starts them off answering yes to me, which makes them more likely to buy at the end of the sales presentation, right? Throughout my stuff, I use lots of different questions. Does that make sense? Are you understanding what I'm saying? Answer yes if you understand me. You get people answering yes. The more times they answer yes, the more likely they are to buy, right? Does that make sense to everybody? That's funny. Let me just see if there's any more questions or anything. Cool. I've got a couple more questions, and I'll dig into the next one. Finally here. Awesome, Corey. Glad to have you. Great content. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are getting value. Like, this is the secret. Yes, and I will make the slides available to everyone asking. If you're watching on the webinar right now, shoot me a message on Facebook. I'll send you the slides. If you're watching this in the future inside of a course, then the slides will be, I'll have the slides below this video for you to download. So that's the example of the question. The next thing that's powerful is a story. And the reason why stories are so powerful is because whenever you tell a story, it actually puts people into a trance-like state where they're actually, and the reason why stories are powerful, let me drink water quick, is because whenever you're growing up, you're actually taught through story. And the most powerful way to sell and to also teach people stuff is through storytelling, because that's kind of how we grow up. Whenever you're like a little kid, what do? You have your parents read you stories, right? Because people like stories, and people pay attention to stories. They listen to stories. They feel stories. So in all of my stuff, I use a bunch of stories. Use stories in your stuff. Here's an example. Actually, it's not even really an example because I could talk for like 8 hours on storytelling, so I'm not going to. Here's a book, if you want to jot this down real quick. It's called Lead with a Story, and it'll tell you how to write stories that are compelling, that people will listen to. It's a really good book. You can buy it on Amazon for like $10 or whatever. Good book. It'll teach you how to tell good stories. The next thing is the direct command. I don't need to get into that too much because it's just a direct command. Like, for example, if you're serious about your future, I'd like you to keep watching this video. It's a direct command. I'm not saying, and as you watch this video, it's direct. You need to keep watching. Click the button below and buy right now. Make a decision to get started right now. Those are direct commands. And this case study that I did, I had the hook, and I had then keep reading. That's not an embedded command. It's a direct command, which are also valuable. They don't have quite the same effect as an embedded command has on the unconscious mind, but they still work really, really well. The next step is the emotion, including emotions in your stuff. And I'll explain why that's so important here in a second after I describe this to you. So here's an example of that. So when I watched my very first sales video that I ever watched online talking about the business that I'm in right now, I wanted to buy so bad that I literally started to get butterflies in my stomach. My heart started to pound and started to beat faster and faster and faster. My breathing intensified, and I knew right then that I just had to buy. So I decided to buy right then and there. Right? What's powerful about emotions is that as you speak them, people actually begin to feel them. If you're nervous when you're speaking, people will begin to feel nervous. If you tell people that you had butterflies in your stomach, people will actually direct their attention towards butterflies and will begin to feel them. So for someone to be in a buying state, what's a buying state? A buying state's when your hands start to get kind of sweaty, your heart's beating faster, your breathing is intensified, right? That's a buying state. So if you speak that about yourself within a story, people will begin to feel that emotion, put themselves into a buying state, and are more likely to buy. Gangster. Number 8 is the presupposition. The presupposition is basically just presupposing that something is true without it actually being true. So here's kind of an example of that, and it's kind of a hard thing for me to explain. So basically, here's a short example. Here's an example from earlier, right? How would you like me to show you this thing? And I'm presupposing that they're answering yes. Right? I'm not saying if yes, keep reading. I just know they're going to answer yes. So I'm presupposing. Then keep reading. So like in your sales video, you could say something like, let me show you exactly what you're about to get. So you're not asking them like, are you going to buy? You're just presupposing the fact that they are going to buy, and here's what they're going to get when they do, right? Presuppositions are really powerful. Like on one of my capture pages, I have watch this free video series now. Well, the free video series isn't on that page. They have to enter in their email address to watch the video series, but by saying that way, I'm presupposing that they've already opted in and are going to be watching that video series. Presuppositions are powerful because it takes away barriers. It just jumps straight to them, imagining as if they've already bought, and that's powerful. The next one is because, and because very, very important. I named it because here was a fascinating study. They did a study, and I don't remember what college is, a college like Harvard, maybe, some college like that, where they did this study where they had someone, there was like a big line to get copies done, right? And so they had someone go up and be like, hey, can I make copies, can I cut in front of you? I'm in a hurry. And like nobody let them cut in front. And then they took another person up and they said, hey, can I cut in front of you because, I'm late to class or whatever. And they gave like an actual good reason, a valid reason, and almost everybody let them cut in line. Well, then what they did was they took out the good reason and they made it the same reason as before. So it was, hey, can I cut in front of you? I'm in a hurry. And they just added a because there. And it was the same reason that almost everybody said no to. They added a because. And all of a sudden, almost everybody, again, no matter what the reason is. So use because in all of your stuff. Here's an example. And I do this in almost every call to action I give. I'll then immediately follow it up with a because. So I'll be like, click the button below and buy right now, because as you do, you're going to learn the secrets to happiness, which I wouldn't say that, but I would say something like you're going to learn how to explode your business or how to create an income from home, right? Whatever it is, whatever the benefits of them buying are. So it's not just click the button below right now, see you later. It's click the button below because you're giving them a reason, and just that because, I don't know why that word is so powerful, but it's a super powerful word, and you need to start using it all the time. I don't tell people to do anything almost ever without adding a because, and it doesn't really matter what the reason is. Obviously, give people good reasons to do things, but by adding that because in there, it'll increase your conversion rates. The next one that's powerful is imagine, because whenever you get people imagining a future, it puts them into a trance-like state where they're more open to suggestion and to buying. So here's like an imagine that you could use. Imagine what your life would be like if you had an extra $10,000 a month coming in every month, whether you're working or not, and you have the ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. Now there's two different types of painting out a picture. There's the type of painting out a picture where you're super specific. So you're basically giving them your view of the world. So imagine making $10,000 a month so that you could sink your toes into the hot sand on your favorite beach. That's super trance-inducing, right? They start imagining that state. They want to be there. Makes them want to buy. And then the other way is when you're super non-direct with it, where you let them create their own images. So imagine what you would do if you could do whatever you wanted to do. And then they would start imagining whatever they wanted. Both of them are really, really powerful. If you know what people want, you can describe it for them. If you don't really know what people want, you can just have them describe it inside their own minds. So you can start helping people imagine things. It makes them more open to buying. The next one is price conditioning. I don't need to get into this too much because I've showed you it a little bit. But here's kind of the misconception that people have about price conditioning. Let me grab a drink of water. A lot of people think that price conditioning is just like the very end of the video. For example, this would be an example of me price conditioning, right? So I've got like, in fact, it won't cost you this dollar or this dollar or even this dollar. That's price conditioning. A lot of people think that's the only way to price condition. So it's not going to cost you $10,000 or $5,000, but only $1,000. But the truth is, in my videos, I will never name a number that is lower than what I'm going to sell it for. So like if I'm selling something for $197, I will not once in an entire video ever say a number that's lower than that number. Ever. So I'll never say, I went to the movies, it was $50. I'll never, ever in an entire video. So I'm literally price conditioning from the moment things start. So I'll start talking about, I went to this event and it cost $5,000 to go. And I'm getting people thinking big numbers the entire time. Not just at the end, but I'm price conditioning the entire time. And that's what separates good marketers from great marketers. You got to be price conditioning the entire time. And so it's not just, hey, at the end of the video, hey, it's not 500 or 300, it's only $100, but you're price conditioning the entire time. So you can value stack. So you can be like, I spent over $20,000 on courses learning how to market, and some people, they spend over $100,000 for a degree, but what you're about to buy is worth $10,000. We don't have to pay $10,000. If you get started now, it's only $2,000. So that would be like a price conditioning at the end. But again, you want to be price conditioning and naming big numbers the entire video. It'll help your conversions a lot. Number 12 is the complex equivalence, and this is kind of a fancy one. I don't know why they called it that. It's a weird name for something that's actually pretty simple, but basically it's just and that means statement. So here would be an example of that. Because you're sitting in your chair watching this webinar right now, that means you're serious about your future, and because you're serious about your future, you need to get started today. And so what that does is it goes straight into someone's unconscious mind. It's basically telling them, and here's what that means about you. And I mean, and if you look at that, basically what I'm saying here is because you're sitting in your chair, you need to get started today. That's actually what I'm saying, but in their mind, they won't logically perceive it that way. All of a sudden, you're telling them, you know, they care about their future, and now they're going to want to start proving that they're serious about their future. And whenever you say two statements like I did here that are true, they'll automatically presuppose that the third thing that's going to be said is also true. So because I said, because you're sitting in your chair watching this webinar, those are both true things. Maybe you're standing, but most likely those are true things. They'll automatically accept the third is true. So basically, I said these two things, so now they're going to accept that that means they're serious about their future. And then because they're going to accept that they're serious about their future, they're then going to accept the next statement, which is because you're serious about your future, you need to get started today. So they're going to accept all of this, all because I said these two little things. And that's a complex equivalence. Let me run back. Let's see. Let me run back through all of these so you can write them down real quick if you have it. Number 1 is the open loop. Number 2, the embedded command. Number 3, the metaphor. Number 4, the question. Number 5, the story. Number 6, the direct command. Number 7, the emotion. Number 8, presupposition. Number 9, because. Number 10, imagine. Number 11, price conditioning. Number 12, complex equivalence. So these are basically things. You don't have to include all 12 in everything. It's not like the 10 steps from earlier where you have to have pretty much all 10 of those steps in everything you sell. These are just things where you might have, you know, a couple of open loops in one, an embedded command here and there, a metaphor, a question, some stories. You don't have to include all of them in every piece of content, but you want to put as many of them as you can. And what will happen over time is you'll begin to start doing this unconsciously. You'll just start adding open loops in there without even thinking about it, embedded commands and metaphors, and that'll just be the way you communicate and speak with the world because you're looking at these right now. And those are the 12 language hacks. So far, here's what we've covered. We've covered my 10 steps, and I'm going to go back to those 10 steps here in a second so you can get one last look at those. Then I showed you the real case study, and then what I've done is I've shown you language commands that you can put within your copy that will skyrocket your conversions. And I promise you, if you use this stuff that I have shared with you tonight, what you are capable of accomplishing is far beyond what you can even imagine inside of your mind right now. And that's my guarantee to you. Let me see if there's any questions. If you have any questions, start asking them. I'm actually going to do a little thing where I'm going to put it all together, and I'm going to do like a sample selling thing for you so you can kind of see how simple this is, because this is actually the easiest thing ever. Great content, awesome, awesome. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of give it a second here. Actually, what I'm going to do, I just ran out of water. I'm going to run downstairs. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to grab some water real quick. And whenever I get back, if you have any questions to ask them right now. And then what I'll do is I'm going to do the putting it all together, where I'm going to run through a sample of how I would use all of this information all at once in a sales pitch, right? So I'm going to put it all together here in a second. If you have any questions, though, ask them now. I'll be back in literally 30 seconds. Okay, guys, I am back. Let me just see if there's any questions real quick, and then we're going to put it all together. I hope you guys are getting value out of what I'm sharing here. Let's see. Looks like there's no questions or anything. Cool, 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 cool. Great content. Love it. Awesome, awesome. I'm glad you guys are getting value out of this. I'm excited. And what I'm most excited for is for everyone watching right now to start implementing this information in their life. Because if you use this, you can get just awesome results. Like I've been able to get. I've done over $150,000 in sales from broke a year ago. I've done over $150,000 in sales using this exact formula. These 12 language hacks, they work. If you use them, you can get results the gurus get. Because this is what the gurus do in all of their stuff. And you can use it and apply it and begin to make money and create the income and success that you deserve. All right, so I'm just going to give it one more second for questions. And then, okay, it looks like we might have gotten one more question here. Now, Bob. Okay, Landon, you said to not ever say numbers below what your selling price is, right? Not above. That is correct. So, like, if you're selling things for $197, I would never, like, the entire video, I wouldn't be talking like, you know, I bought this thing for $100, and then I went out to dinner and it was $20, and saying all these prices that are getting their mind wrapped around $50 and $100 in these low numbers, and then they see your price point is $197, and all of a sudden that's like a lot to them. Instead, I'll be saying things like, you know, I went to this event and I paid over $1,000, including the flight and everything, to go out to this event. And then I spoke at an event that cost $4,000 to attend, and I actually spent over $20,000 learning how to market and create an income from home. And then this and this and this, right? I'm using all these huge numbers, so they see $5,000 and $10,000 and $20,000. And then when I get down, you know, you're going to get all this, not for $2,000 or even $1,000 or even $500, but for only $197. So now they see it go down from $20,000 all the way to $197. It's like a steal. Even if at the time of them watching the video, $197 was a lot. By the time they get to the end of it, $197 is cheap. It's a no-brainer decision, right? So you want to always constantly be using numbers that are bigger than the number that you're selling, right? And if you have to tell a story that has a number in it that's smaller, it's like, fine, it won't kill you as long as it's not like the entire thing, right? As long as that's not your entire video talking about all this cheap stuff and then selling an expensive thing. In general, you want to talk about things that are more expensive than what you're selling, right? You compare apples to oranges. So a lot of times I'll compare buying my business, you know, as an education to going to college, right? Because people spend like $100,000 on college to make like 40 grand a year. I spent, you know, $20,000 on my business to make 100 grand a year, and then it's like, you know, but you can get started right now for only $197. And after looking at 100,000 and 20,000, I'm comparing apples to oranges, and then I'm like, for $197, it's a no-brainer, it's a steal. They have to get started, right? That's the effect that you can have on people. Let me just see if there's any more questions. No more questions. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let me go ahead. I'm going to put it all together. I'm going to show you how to do all this, okay? So here's putting all together. I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. And what I'm actually doing is I'm actually putting together a coaching program where I'm actually going to be sitting down with a couple of people, I think 2 people in August or September, here in the next month or two. I'm going to be sitting down with just a couple of people, and I'm going to be showing them and I'm actually going to be helping them do what we just walked through. I'm actually going to be helping them create their thing, actually sit there with them and help them find all of the problems that their prospects has, what the solution is, et cetera, et cetera. Actually go through the entire thing. Me putting that together, I think it's going to be like $3,000. So what I'm actually going to do right now is actually show you if I were to sell that, how I would do it, right? Because I'm actually compiling the pitch as we speak for that, and I'll be putting it out into the world here in the next couple of weeks. So here's kind of how the pitch is going to go. So number one is I've got to have a hook, right? So my hook is going to be like, and I'll just kind of go through it. So number one, we have the hook. I'll be like, hey there, my friends, my name is Landon Stewart, and as you watch this video, that's the embedded command, right? So hey there, my friends, my name is Landon Stewart, and as you watch this video, I'd like to share with you how I can help you create a six-figure income from the comfort of your own home, right? You know, it wasn't so long ago that I was actually struggling in my business for years. It was about 4 years of pain and struggle and doing everything that I was told to do, and nothing was working for me the way that I felt that it should. And after 4 years, I got to the place to where I was about ready to give up, right? I remember feeling frustrated all the time because I was working so hard on my business, and it just wasn't working for me. I remember feeling rejected because I took my ideas to my friends and my family, and they all just thought I was a complete doofus for doing this stuff. And that's where I was just a little while ago. But as you watch this video, I'm actually going to share with you some information that I've now used to do over $150,000 in sales. In fact, I've done over $100,000 in personal income. I've personally recruited over 350 people into my business. I generated thousands of leads online, and using the internet and this information, I've completely transformed my entire life. I've gone from broke just a year ago to now I'm able to, you know, create income really at any time that I want, and it's an amazing feeling to have that. But here's the problem that you have right now. Here's the problem. The problem you have is there are really only two ways of making a lot of money. Option one is like normal network marketing. Well, what's the problem with normal network marketing? Well, normal network marketing, if you want to sell something, you have to like hop on the phone and sell it, right? Because there's no sales presentation. You are the sales presentation. You either have to do meetings every week, or you have to hop on the phone and you have to sell a bunch of stuff. Well, what's the problem with that model? Well, the more money you make, the worse your life gets. Because if you want to make more money, you have to do more phone calls. Therefore, the more money you make, the worse your life gets. But then we have the second option. What's that option? Well, that option is to get into like an online system where they give you a sales funnel that'll sell for you. What's the problem with that model? Well, in the beginning, they all convert really well because there's only a few people doing them. But over time, they expand and expand and expand until there's hundreds of thousands of people all promoting the same offer with the same pitch, and now all of a sudden it doesn't convert anymore. So if you don't have the skill of how you can write your own sales funnels and create your own sales copy, if you don't have that skill, it's just going to be really, really hard for you to create the income that you deserve to create. So what's the solution to all of that? Well, here in the next month or two, I'm putting together a workshop where I'm actually either going to have people fly to where I live, or I'm just going to do it over Skype, where I'm actually going to be sitting down with just a couple of people and sharing with them, and together we're going to create an entire marketing funnel from scratch. We're actually going to start off at the capture page. We'll actually design the entire thing and get them something that converts really well. We'll actually sit there and we'll put all of these 10 things that you need to sell, and we'll go through and we'll design it all together. We'll create the hook together. We'll create the story of trust together. We'll create all of these things together, and we'll do that, right? So we'll create all of this stuff together so that by the end of it, right, they'll actually have, you know, a full-fledged, you know, sales funnel ready to go that they can use, so they can create income anytime they want. So here's what you can expect if you want to be one of these people. You can expect to have an entire sales funnel ready to go by the time you're done, so that you actually have something that converts. So you don't have to rely on someone else's system, or you don't have to cold call prospects. You can have a funnel on the internet that's actually built to convert and make you money, right? That's what you can expect to learn. And here again, here's what I've done by using this information that I'm going to be sharing with you. I've done over $150,000 in sales, right? Over $150,000 in sales using this information. It works. It's proven to work. And here's the irresistible offer that I have for you. It's not, you know, I actually spent over $20,000 learning how to market on the internet. Over $20,000. And people, they go to college and spend over $100,000. Over $100,000 for college, right? Which is just crazy because they only make like $40,000 a year. I spent $20,000 to make over $100,000. So if I did this with you for only $20,000, I think we could both agree that it would actually be worth it, wouldn't it? But it's not going to be $20,000. It's not even going to be 10. In fact, I've only got a few spots available. Only 2, because my time is valuable. I don't have time to work with just anybody. I only have 2 spots available to do this with me, and so because of that, it's not going to be $10,000. In fact, it'll only be $3,000, but only for the first 2 people. This video is going to be seen by thousands of people. It's only for the first 2 that take action. You need to take action right now. So here's what you need to do next. If you're interested in this, you need to click the button below to buy. And if you're watching this webinar right now, you're watching this live, there is no button below to buy, right? There's no button. I just made this up, right? This is what the pitch is going to be here in the next month or so, right? It's only $3,000. So you need to click the button below. You need to buy right now so that I can personally help you. We'll sit down together, and one day we'll get an entire sales funnel up and ready to go for you. It isn't going to take us months to do. We'll sit there. We'll figure out who your ideal prospect is, who you need to market to. We'll sit there. We'll come up with your hook. We'll come up with your story. We'll come up with the proof that you have. Even if you don't have any right now, we will come up with proof that works. We'll find out all the problems and solutions, and I will help you craft an offer that converts and that works, and you'll have everything ready to go, so you don't need other people's stuff. You have what you need to succeed. You have the skill set, so you can take it into any business and any system, and you can get the results that you deserve to get because you have the knowledge and the skill. So here's what you need to do right now. Click the button below and buy right now for only $3,000, which is a huge steal. I'm going to be speaking at an event that's over $4,000. I've actually seen things like this charge $10,000 for things like this. This is a huge deal for only $3,000. And that would be the end of my pitch, right? That would be the end of it. And that converts amazingly, amazingly well, right? And I am actually going to be opening that up in real life. If you would be interested in that, shoot me a message on Facebook. I don't have any order form or anything up like that. But if you'd want that, it won't be $3,000 for you. I would do it for you for $1,000 since you're here on this webinar with me. So if you want it for $1,000 and you want me to sit there and go over all of the things that we've talked about tonight, shoot me a message on Facebook. Again, it's only for like 2 people, so if you want it, send me a message, and I'll see if we can do that together. And I'm going to be opening that up to the public here in like the next couple of weeks. Again, I don't have an order form or anything like that, so just shoot me a message and we'll work something out together. But that's how the pitch would be, right? That's how the pitch would be, and that would convert really, really, really well, even selling expensive things. Does that all make sense to everyone who's watching right now? Okay, it looks like we've got a couple questions, and now I'm just ready for questions. Let's see. I've got a ton of value. Awesome. Thank you. I'm glad you got a ton of value, Ryan. Nick, awesome. Thanks for the clarification. Makes sense. Awesome. Okay, and then we got Lee. So, Landon, when you're doing an ad, do you find normally your ads are longer than most other marketers because you're implementing these, or do you have a minimum or short versions? It depends on like an ad, right? Because like on Facebook, for example, you can do really short Facebook ads, and obviously in there, you're basically just the hook is all you would use in a lot of Facebook ads. You could just do a hook and that's it, right? You just basically catch their attention, their curiosity, and then you would use a video. My videos are not like you can do this entire pitch. I've done videos where I've had this entire pitch in less than 8 minutes. All of these things, right? Because I was selling a cheaper thing, right? Like, for example, Empower Network offers the 25, people can buy, for $25 just the blog or whatever. But if you're selling something for $25, you don't need an hour-long video. So I've been able to put all of this down into 8 minutes. Now, some of my videos are longer. I have videos that go for 30 minutes where I get into each step of all of these things like crazy. So it really just depends. There's no really right answer for how long something needs to be. I do have some long Facebook ads that convert really, really well. In fact, the Facebook ad, I made like 70 grand from one Facebook ad, and it was long, right? I'm talking long ad, and it converted really, really, really well because people who are buyers and that want information, they will read it. And again, as long as you're putting in all of these things, embedded commands to keep them watching, stories that keep them interested, metaphors that talk to their unconscious mind, if you're interesting, people will pay attention to it, right? And if you have enough proof and things like that, the important thing is to tell stories and be interesting within it. So don't just sit there and, hook for 10 minutes and story of trust for 10 minutes and proof for 10 minutes without having other stories and other things that people would actually be interested in. Keep them interested for a long time, and if you keep people watching, you can make a lot of money. I hope that answers your question, Lee. If anyone else has any more questions, answer them now, because that's all I've got. I hope you guys got value out of that. Again, if you're watching this in the future. That coaching thing, it's probably already done. I apologize, but if you're watching this right now in the webinar and you would like to sit down with me personally and we come up with all of these things together, whether it's for a network marketing company like Empower Network or something else, or your own products, shoot me a message on Facebook right now. I'll save your spot for you. For like, if you shoot me a message right now, I'll save a spot for you for like 24 hours. It's only going to be 2 people, and I'm going to be opening that to the public here in the next couple of weeks because it's super valuable. It'll be $3,000 to the public, only $1,000 for the people on the webinar right now. So you get a big discount on it because you're awesome and you believed in me enough to be here in the beginning, and I appreciate you for that. If you're loyal to me, I'll be loyal to you. But yeah, if you have any more questions, ask them here now. Let's see. No more questions yet, but I don't want to go just yet because I know it can take sometimes people a couple minutes to think of questions. So if you have any questions, ask them now. Cool. I hope you guys got value, though. I mean, this stuff here has changed my entire life. So I hope you got value out of what I shared. I had fun. I hope you had fun. I hope it was interesting with you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you for being here, for having a dream. It means a lot to me. And but yeah, so if you have any questions, ask them now. And if there's not any questions, what we'll do within the next 4 minutes. Looks like we just got one. If there's not any questions within like next 4 minutes, we'll head out. Would you have a list of books that would cover a lot of this stuff? Basically, where you learned all this stuff? Yeah, here's a list of books. I'll just type this out, and I'm going to type it quick. So here's a list of books. One is a book called Word Weaving. Word Weaving. Let's see. Word Weaving is one that is really, really good. Two would be Richard Bandler's Guide to Transformation. 3 would be Influence by Robert Cialdini. 4 would be anything Dan Kennedy. Like, he has anything Dan Kennedy. Go buy all of his stuff on copywriting because he's the best. A lot of the copy stuff I learned from there. A lot of the embedded commands and stuff I learned from these two. Influence. Let me think if there's anything else. Oh, the one sentence persuasion course. And these are probably like the top, like, because I've obviously went through a lot more than this. But I mean, these are like the top things. One sentence persuasion course. And again, if you have any questions, ask them now. One sentence persuasion course. And then I'll do one more. What is this last one? And it is what was it? Oh, Little Black Book, or it's Persuasion Skills Black Book. But yeah, if you write these 6 down and buy them, if you get into this stuff like intense, right? Because I've read probably like 30 or 40. These are definitely the best. These are the top copywriting, persuasion, influence books that I've ever read, and they'll give you a lot of this information that I've covered with you tonight. Let's see. Looks like we've got a couple more questions here. Awesome, Nick. I'm glad you got value, brother. Do you do Facebook direct, and so versus regular Facebook ads? Sean, I do a little bit of both, brother. I do some Facebook ads, like the short ads, and they do well. I also do the long ads that just go on my Facebook thing or whatever. I do them both. I do them both on Facebook. They both work well. I like the longer ones better, not because they get me cheaper leads, but because the leads convert a little bit higher. And the reason why that is, if someone reads like my entire story before they even opt into my list, they obviously already like me and are more likely to buy from me if they read my entire story than if I basically just catch their curiosity for a second. So I like the longer ones a little bit better personally, but I get leads from the short ones too. They work. They work really well. You guys have any more questions? We'll do a couple more here. Looks like we got one more question here. Ryan, that just depends. Like, if you're going to be on, Ryan asks, when you're borrowing credibility from someone, is it important to get their permission? That really depends. Like, if you're going to be using someone like on a capture page or like in a sales video that's going to be driving tens of thousands of visitors, right? In that situation, you might want to, ask them like, hey, I'm just going to be, saying that you got these results. Is this cool in this video, right? And just ask them, right? Like, I mean, everyone watching right now, you have my permission. If you're promoting in Power Network, which is what I promote, and you say, hey, Landon Stewart has used this system to over 150,000 in sales or has made over 100,000 with the system, I'm totally, totally cool with that, right? Some people, though, are not cool with that, so you might want to ask them. Though if you're just doing like a YouTube video that you're sending out to your list, where it's going to be out there for like one time, you can use people. Like if they get mad over that, that's kind of on them. Like who cares, right? So like if you're just going to make a video or just one email that goes out like a broadcast email, totally cool. Just use the credibility. Be like, hey, all these people have done this. And usually they'll like it because it gets them exposure. Well, it helps you make money, it gets them exposure, right? But yeah, if you're going to be doing like an entire system that your entire team is going to use or something like that, then you might want to go ahead and ask them if it's cool to use it. I hope that makes sense, brother. Okay, got one more question here. But have any recommendations on where to learn Facebook ads? I would learn from Justin Veringia. He is the best. Him and Jabril, I think they have a course for like $1,000. That's where I would learn that, which I'm actually going to be making a traffic course soon. So those of you who are watching this in the future, you'll probably have the ability to buy a traffic course from me. Or maybe even when you're watching this video, you already have my traffic course. And if I have one when you're watching this, buy from me, obviously, because I'll teach you what I'm doing, and it's worked really, really well for me. But before, in the live webinar right now, Justin Veringia is awesome, right? He's cool. Let's see if there's any other questions, and we're going to head out. I hope you guys got a ton of value tonight, and I had a lot of fun. Long story on Facebook would be a promoted post. That is correct, Ellie. That would be a no, it's not a promoted post. It would be what's it called? It would be like you post it on your Facebook and then you go into ads, and it would be like Facebook post engagement. Like whenever you go into the ads thing to create an ad, it'll say like clicks to website, cost per conversion or whatever, and you would click Facebook ads engagement is what you would do. I don't currently have any training on traffic. I'm creating training on traffic, and as soon as I have it out, you all here will be the first to know about it. And I recommend Empower Network's traffic training. I learned a lot of traffic stuff from Empower Network because the truth is with traffic, what's more important than like learning a strategy or whatever is learning the skill. Like I could do pretty much any traffic strategy and get results. Like I could blog and get results because I know how to influence people. I can do Facebook ads and get results because I know how to influence people. Whenever you understand people and how they work and what's attractive to people, then any strategy will work, whether it's Facebook ads or I do Bing. I mean, I get traffic from everywhere because I have the skill, because I understand what makes people tick, and I also understand how to test and track what I'm doing. And so that's kind of important. A lot of people, they kind of get into like wanting to like learn from like courses and stuff, but you can just go learn how to do that stuff is the truth. That's kind of how I learned most of the stuff that I do. I just kind of learned it, right, by doing it. That's my best recommendation for that, except obviously whenever I come out with a course, I'll teach you exactly what I'm doing, and that'll save you some pain, obviously. So if you're watching this in the future and I have my course, buy it from me. Let's see. But yeah, it looks like that's all the questions. I'm going to wait for one more minute. If there's no more questions, we're going to head out. Hope you guys had an awesome night. I had fun. Let's see. I'll wait one more minute here. I'll wait. I have 8:59. I'll wait till 9 p.m. I'll refresh. And if no more questions, we'll head out. And you guys can all have an awesome night. Okay, that's it. I hope you guys had fun tonight. I had a fun night, and I'll talk to you soon. Get with me on Facebook if you are interested in me helping you one-on-one create this entire thing. I'll do it with you. Hit me up on Facebook. If you're watching this in the future in my course, I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you got value out of this as well, because I mean, this is the goods. This is the secret stuff that'll help your stuff convert like crazy. If you follow this 10-step formula and you include these language hacks in your stuff, I'm telling you, it'll work for you. Just you watching it right now is proof that it works, because this is how I sold this course, right? This is how I sold it, was through doing the stuff that I'm telling you to do. So you watching it right now is proof that it works. It works, and if you do it, it'll work for you. And I want you to have an awesome night. Landon Stewart signing out. Bye-bye.